check this right and make sure it's all good and everything. Make sure everything is all good and good. All right, I am here, folks. I'm here, ladies and gentlemen, and I just want to go ahead and talk with you about some of the cool things that are happening. Pretty much you know who I am. My name is Greg, and I am going to do face paint, body paint today. And in the background, I have some a tea that's going to be cooking, and that's right. It's going to be getting ready for that. So you might hear a whistle in a little while. And so what I'm going to be doing is that I have a couple of creatures here. This is my Carnotaur, and this is one of my other creatures. This is one of my chupacabras. This is my fish monster, chupacabras. His name is this one's Jaro, and Jaro is one of the second fish monster I made after Japa. Japa was the first one, is the orange one. This one is Jaro, and he's the blue one. And so pretty much, I haven't made any copies of Japa. Of Jaro. This is Jaro. See right here, Jaro. And so what happens, I'm actually gonna paint his face paint onto my skin, him, as well as a combination of him. And so just so pretty much I'm gonna do that a little bit, just kind of try to find the sweet spot for the camera, so it's like right, not too far. Sorry to be zooming in and out like that, so just get it just right here. If I stand up accidentally, because I'm gonna have to stand up in a little bit to get some of this tea that I'm gonna be cooking in a little bit. Anyway, so for the most part, let me just kind of zoom it out just a little bit, get my cameras all right in here. All right, that's that. If I stand up, you see here. All right. Okay. So for the most part, though, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. Those of you who are here, those of you who will be here. I have my light source and my camera trying to balance this all right to make sure it looks all good. And what we're going to be doing today, I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the cool paints I have. I have separated out some of the paint ones. So this is the color fish, and this is one here. I want to say just to encourage anybody who, please write as many messages as possible as I do this. I love talking to people as I'm working on stuff. I'm going to give you guys also background and things that are going on with my, just going on with last couple of days. It was really cool. I did the dip in the ocean, the ice dipping in the ocean, which was super cold. Yes, very, very cold indeed. And what I'm going to do, let's see, maybe it's better if let me lower this light right here a little bit more. Maybe it's better that way. Okay, maybe that's a little less. Okay, hi, tell me if you like that. It's better this way. The lights are good. Tell me if you guys are hearing everything that's going on. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. Let me know if things are going good. All right, what I have some foundation. I have some blue foundation, as well as some foundation, as well as a blue dye, right? So I have blue dye, right? And I have foundation, and I have my foundation application marker, right? As well as some water over here too. So what I'm going to do, I also have big wipes to wipe it off if I make a mistake. And so let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to try and see you do the whole area here and get this going. So let's stop talking. Let's go right into it, right? So pretty much I want to say thank you all so much for being here. This is a long time ago, a friend of mine asked me to make a paint for him, to actually do a thing where make him look like he's wearing jeans, right? So what I'm doing is that I'm going to go ahead and get this going. So I'm going to work on myself. So stop talking and start working, right? So here's the foundation. Set the suckers up and let's go. Right here we got these. This here is foundation. This is foundation. This is foundation pen, and this here is the blue dye. Right. So I'm gonna tell you a story as I do this. I have to take off my shirt. So no so I don't damage my favorite. This is my my hide and seek shirt. There's hide and seek, and this is the one with my world champion hide and seek shirt. This is with my boy Squatch. Right. So I got to get this shirt off real quick and start with the painting. Right. And so usually when you do a body paint, you want to make sure that you don't damage your clothes, so that's why you don't wear any. So for the most part, here's this. Get this out real quick. All right, cool. All right, so here it goes. This is my shirt. I'll put it over there. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's start off with the foundation and see how this works out. Got this one's already closed. I'm going to put the ones I'm not using away. And usually how I do this, I start off with like a base, right? And let me tell you the story real quick of how it all went down. This is the final matte. I'm gonna put that away. And this one here is the base face primer. Put that away too. I'm gonna start straight up with the foundation. Let's do this. Usually, how it all works out for me is that I'm gonna put some here on my hand. I'll probably shake it up a little bit. Smells like alcohol. All right, we'll have to go ahead and shake this up a little bit. Right there, that. So that, and so these are we have big wipes, because what happened is like when I popped it out, it came out like that, right? So here's that. Let me go ahead and just do it like this. I'll tell you a quick story. My ever since I was a kid, I just well, let me get faster. I pretty much started the whole body paint thing back in 2015. 2011 is when I saw Andy Golub do this in the city. He had a model painted in Times Square, and I drove past in my car. I think 2011. I wasn't a taxi driver then, but I had been a taxi driver. I was working at a law firm at that point. And so what happened was I saw him do that. He had a model that painted, and it was kind of an interesting thing because usually you get in trouble for that kind of thing, right? You get in trouble for that kind of thing. So I'm going to see how that works. Let me see. I'm going to apply it this way. Put it into the brush. Apply it to my skin. I'm not sure just how you apply foundation, but and so what happens is like he had a lady there was being painted, and I think the cops rolled up on him. Later, he was able to make a stand and say because of art, because when you use it for art, hey, how you doing? When you use it for art, you have this thing where, oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me? You can't hear me? The sound? You can't hear me? Is it too much? Let me know. It says Erica Guerrero says a thumbs down. Is that thumbs down for the sound? Or is that... Let me see. Let me just raise it up a little bit. I'm not sure. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me clearly. If you can't, let me know because I need to go from there and see what I can do. Right. So I can hear you. Okay, good. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Sounds good. All right, cool. So what happens is like he did that, and so the cops they took him to be processed, I guess, because there's as of like either indecent exposure or something. And then what happened was that he was able to stand on the principle that when you do an art program, as long as you're not soliciting for money, you're doing an artwork that's an exhibit, and art is protected, and not just protected to the extent of like just top, but the whole person because it's part of education, you know. And so what happened with that when I learned about that, that actually blew my mind because I was like, I learned that well, I didn't for a while actually help him be part of it until like 2015 is when the first time my family and I went to go see one. He was by the Dag Hammarskjöld by the United Nations. There's a place on 2nd Avenue and 48th Street, I think, or 43rd or 46th. And that's at that area, right? It's like an area where you have it where it's like outside the United Nations in Manhattan. And so incidentally what happens is like I was able to see the first like big body painting day. It was actually the second one, I think, maybe the third one, but it was on a 2015 when I saw that one. And so before that time, we had a church picnic that went to Fort Tilden. There's a place called Fort Tilden in New York, right? And Fort Tilden is a place where I don't. It's like a place where people have been known to do like the whole skinny dip thing, and the whole it used to be like back in the day. They had a lot of gay people would go to Jacob Riis and stuff like that, and do a lot of like just shenanigans and stuff. And there's actually like a nude beach over in New Jersey called Gunnison, right? And Gunnison is a place where it's like nationally recognized. So a lot of people go there. We've been there. I've been there twice, maybe 3 times. But for the most part, though, it's like I've been there with a couple friends and do that. And how I got into it was because when we went to a church picnic, there were people there, right, who were like topless and stuff. But it was like it was ladies, and I was like, oh my goodness, right? So incidentally, what ended up happening was that my my wife and kids and I, we just like at the time it was like it was back in 2009, so we had 2 out of our 3 children at that point. We were able to go there because it was a guy in church who was always like constantly like challenging the pastors. I don't know whatever it was, but we went on a Sunday to go to a church picnic. They said, "Oh, we don't have to worship on a Sunday," and they're trying to prove a point. And so we went there and we went to church to celebrate. And then we saw the people, and they were doing this stuff, and they were like just not, they were topless. Who knew? So anyway, what happened was that my wife and I, we just absolutely loved going back. We went there a whole bunch of times. A couple times my wife and the kids and I all got a chance to go there and go skiing up and stuff. We used to go in the evening, that way with less people. And then we went there a couple of friends, and that was cool too, because when you go with some friends, it's always better, right? And then so we went there, a friend got a chance to do the whole skinny dip thing and all that. And that was so much fun. So this year, right? And last year I went to do this because I always see the people do the polar bear stuff. they do the polar bear thing where they jump into the water, and I always said to myself, I want to actually do that because I mean, a couple years ago, back in I think 2018 or so, and also definitely 24, I got a chance to be part of the polar bear paint, right? So polar bear body paint. What happened was that my friend Andy, again, he did this thing where he had this thing where they went and did the polar bear paint, where in Times Square they dress you up or you get painted up, and then you walk into the cold streets of Manhattan, and I guess you go into the red steps for a few, and I have videos of that too. You have that in my playlist. You can see that. All right, and so what happens is like they are you can see some of the cool stuff there. So this is cool. The foundation actually turned my hair like skin color to it because my hair becomes hard to see. So actually masking out my beard as well. It's pretty cool. So we did that. So I did the first time I got a chance to paint a couple people, and then after that was I got to meet some more people. I painted one person, my friend Jeanette, and another person, a guy named Kurt, another guy named Howard, and met a bunch of people like Alicia, who later I met at the Guggenheim last year, and so I did the Guggenheim one. That was pretty cool. Anyway, so I'm just saying this thing. So with the polar bear paint is where you get dressed up and body paint, and you have like a rain jacket, and you go to Times Square, and you get to take some super cool pictures for about as long as you can endure it. There's no water there, and pretty much it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. So when I went on January, a couple days ago, like 7 days ago, right? I had already gone many times, many times here in New York, right? So and the first time I did the Guggenheim was last year, and that was pretty cool. But, so then, just to tell the story, when I went to the one on Sunday, the one last Thursday, right, last week, it was like my mind was like it was so cold, and I sent you a couple pictures there already about how cold it was, that the temperature was about 20 degrees, 19 degrees in the air, and then when you get to the water itself was about 30 degrees, which is great, but it was a constant breeze. I mean, if you get to look at my Instagram, you can actually see when all the cool stuff started to interact. All the stuff started interacting in terms of like the the wind, how the wind was like totally just hit me with sand. So when I got to my son who's 22, he went with me, right? And he went because my wife didn't go this time. Last year she went, and I went twice into the water, which was like it wasn't too bad because it was so comfortable. This year it was frozen, it was frosty, and when I got there, it was like there was another family there, and there's a family like with a kite, and I was like, I felt the kind of way. I didn't really want to do it. It came to a point where I was like, you know what, my son was like, Dad, you don't have to prove this to anybody. Nobody even, But I said to myself that keeping promises, has been the thing that I'm trying to work on this year, for myself. Not keeping promises to other people, but keep promises to myself. Because like when you say something, you have to kind of keep to it. Because if you don't keep to it, you kind of start doubting yourself. So, like I said, I'm gonna do a body paint today. Where the weed at? I don't know. I don't know. Where's the weed at? Well, I don't really smoke or drink, so that's one of those things. I don't really smoke or drink. Actually, I don't smoke and I don't drink. So the most I ever had was a Robitussin or something when I was sick as a kid, and maybe a rum cake and stuff. But other than that, like purposely drinking an open bottle, I'm usually the designated driver. The one they have me to drive everybody home, and so I'm the one that drives people home. And so as your driver, you're never quite drunk. So anyway, so I had my son went with me, and the water was cold. The wind was cold. There was a family there flying kites, and I was like, I don't know if I want to go. Then when they jumped into the water, I was like, you know what, I'm doing this. But my son was like, Dad, you don't have to do this. You don't have to prove this to anybody. There's no one you have to prove this to. You can just go ahead and not do this, and everybody be fine. And I'm like, you got a point there. Everybody would be fine. So the thing is, like, I said to myself, well, self, I came all the way out here. It's like that movie, Apollo. Wasn't Apollo? What was it? I think it was. Apollo 13 was one where he went all the way to the moon and he wasn't able to get out, because like they had to figure out either go to land on the moon or go home, and that was the thing. And so he's like, well, Tom Hanks' character was like, well, I better get home. Let's get home, because he like had to kind of deal with the fact that okay, he did what he could, and he didn't go to the moon and all that stuff, So if you believe that kind of thing. But for the most part, though, if you do believe the moon exists as not a light source, but as an actual physical object, then what happens is that you would, the fact that he went all the way to it and he didn't get out to touch the moon soil, and getting moon rocks and doing any moon research and finding out the alien base up there and stuff. They didn't do any of that stuff. Then what happens is like he just kind of next part was just trying to get back home. And incidentally, when he did all that, that was kind of like a pretty cool thing because he got like he got to do it. He got to do it. So he got a chance to do that thing. And for me, I was saying to myself, I came all this way to this beach. There's no way I'm gonna not do this. And my son's really cool with that. He liked the whole idea. So the reason I took him was because he was kind of going through some stuff right now. He has a YouTube channel, and his YouTube channel is kind of working out, and he's like trying to get people to get on his YouTube channel. So in my bios, I have his link as well as my daughter's, my wife's YouTube channel, so you can actually follow them as well. And so what happens is like we're in the process of trying to always raise good financial freedom and doing the things we love to do, as opposed to doing just working a job that you have to work to pay the bills. We have been doing this for a number of years, and so I've done the masking tape art, and I still do the masking tape art, and we do commissions. So anyway, so what happened was my son went with me yesterday, and thank you. My son went with me, and he was there to kind of encourage me as we were doing the thing. And he was the one that helped me because when I got out, my fingers were so frozen I couldn't even button my shirt again because my hands had frozen at that point, right? And so when your hands freeze up, you can't work them. And he had to come with a blanket and had to cool me, had to kind of warm me up, with the blanket, and then I had my hat on. I didn't take my hat off, but it was so cold. I screamed. I was like, ah! I just screamed out in pain. It was so terrible. And so what happens is, when you really think about it, how it works, I really didn't like this experience going to the beach this time. I thought to myself, you know what, here am I doing this thing, and my camera, actually, the one I have over there is recording, that one froze up. That one froze up, right? And so when it froze up, the hard drive froze. And I didn't know a hard drive could do that. The hard drive was heat generating something, but it froze up and it didn't let me to go, so I couldn't record it on the big camera, which got a better picture than the ones I put on my YouTube. Right, YouTube, I put a couple pictures there, and that's pretty much all the pictures I was able to get. So I'm just telling you a story how it happened. And for the most part, what happened was like there was people there. There was other people who went and jumped in the water too, and then there was a huge group of people, a huge group of people. I mean, like 40 people or so that went there. And when they did this, I was like, oh my goodness, this is tremendous, because it was like a whole bunch of people, and I'm not sure if it was a polar bear, but they walked away. And at that point, I had already done my dip in the water. I did one dip, and I was done. Last year I did two, so officially, I actually was able to do that. I was able to do that, so I was quite happy about the fact that I got a chance to actually do that. So this here's that one. This is that. I'm going to start putting the other paints. So here we got, first we got the foundation. This is the foundation here, right? And so here's that, right? I probably should like continue on down, but actually let me do that real quick. Continue on real quick, just a little bit more of that. So what happens is this, put it down to further down. It's like I feel like one of those people from like Mad Max, like that, one of the war boys. War boys. And this foundation stuff is like really intense. It's like, it's so cool. It's like it doesn't, your body can breathe. So it's actually makeup. Because body paint is actually makeup, and that took me a while to figure out because you don't think about that. But when you actually start to realize what it is and what it does, it is makeup. So as makeup, you're just kind of painting a foundation to make all of it, the skin, the same. Right? And I've seen people at work do this, and they have the foundation and stuff like that, and I'm just like, they just kind of killed it with the foundation. And you can still see it, like, it doesn't look like, it's flat or good or anything like that. But it's supposed to, like, make your face wear all the same color. And then from there, you're supposed to be able to, like, put highlights and stuff to it, to where you can actually make a difference and stuff. So, anyway, back to my story. When I got to, I had to warm up because my hands had frozen. At that point, I had frozen fingers, and I had to get ready, and I was getting sandblasted with the sand from this thing, and it was a constant wind. It was absolute constant wind. There was no pause in it. There was no chill to it. There was no break in it. It was just a constant breeze. It was like Antarctica, or what you think about when you think of Antarctica. Or you think about the wind and the snow. Apparently, it was the other way around. Would say it is. Isn't this racist? I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you think about what racism actually is, it's when people are scared of what they don't know. And this isn't white. This is actually like it's actually, I don't know. This is more like I don't know, but this is what it is. The foundation. If you can see it, this is the foundation. It's not white. It's kind of like it's not pink. It's not pink. I don't know. it's like not even a bone color. It's kind of like, see, it's not too far off my skin color because for foundation to work, it has to be like almost the same kind of skin color. So I don't know. I guess, you know. So anyway, so the most part though, it's like that. So for me, let's see if I get this right here. I have my thing was like, so then when I got to my fingers have to actually warm up, and before that we had prepared the ground. So I had got my water bottle, right? My water bottle of, this is the blue dye color primer, right? So I'm going to see if I can just kind of put some cool details into that. I have my brushes. These are my brushes when I do body paint. So whenever I paint anybody, these are my brushes that I use, right? So I do a lot of painting of people. So that's one of the things too. It's kind of a cool service to get a chance to actually help people who want to be painted to be painted. And that was one of the things I found about this whole body paint thing that was kind of cool, was because when you did like a body paint, you became instant friends with the people that you were working with. You know, you become instant. I mean, you do, if you have to be, I guess, naked before somebody, you have to be trustworthy with them. So then they have to be there with you. You know, and all right, let's see what we got. We have this one. Let's go for blue line. All right, you get to kind of trust the people, and when you do something, that they're gonna be trustworthy. Could we make a movie that is opposite of White Chicks? Goodness, you can make that movie if you want. I'm not making a movie like that. The movie was crazy. My video just went up. The video just went out. This one. Did it just go out? Oh goodness, my back video just went out. Alright, so my video on my backup camera just went out. I think my battery just ran out. So I have to kind of go over there and fix that. Right here you can hear the sound of the kettle because I'm in my kitchen. And so, you know, that's the thing about, you know, when you do anything, you got people come and talk to you about anything. And that's good because, you know what? It's good that people come and talk, because when you do that, you get a chance to actually engage with society. That was one of the things my son was saying about, that sometimes what it's easy to do is just to block people. But I don't think blocking people is kind of the answer sometimes. I think what happens, you just, you know, eventually we'll block them. But for the most part, I just want to hear where they're coming from before they get blocked, you know? It's one of those things, you know? You have this thing where it's like, my son has his own channel, and in his channel he wants to present and teach and show people all this really cool art that he does. You know, he does really cool art stuff. But let me just finish up my story real quick. At the end of that day, right, when I finished up doing the thing, I was able to actually go and say that I did this. It wasn't as sweet as last year, where I got a chance to kind of read and prepare and have pictures. It was more like the lines of like just trying to get back and survive, because I was absolutely freezing. I was absolutely, what bro? What bro? What you doing? I don't know. I am painting my face, and I'm just doing you know, why don't you see? It's in the title. What I'm doing. I'm painting my face because I want to. So that's what I'm doing. And so what happens was, like, you know, one day last year when I had more of a catharsis, I had more of a closure. This year was more like a survival. I got a chance to actually just get out there and do a survival type thing. You know, I just went out there, and I was I just said to myself, let me go ahead and do this thing and get back in. And it was super cool. And the reason I did it, because I said I was going to do it. That's the reason why. Just like I said today, I'm going to do this body paint thing today. Exactly the same thing as well, right? And so what happened was, like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this because I said I'm going to do it. And keeping a promise to myself is kind of the lesson I've been learning about all these things, you know? It's like, keep a promise to yourself. If you're going to say you're going to do something, you do something you said you're going to do. Because otherwise you're just the punk. You does say one thing and does the other. And especially if you can't keep a promise to yourself, you know, you're in trouble, you know? So keep a promise to yourself. Keep it. If you say you're going to do something, do it, you know? And also, that also means too that, you know, make sure that whatever you say, you mean it, because it's going to be one of those things where your body doesn't have to pay for it. So before I went to the thing, right? My son and I, we were traveling, and there was like you know, because it's the first of the year, and the first year people like to go get drunk for some strange reason. I don't understand why, but people do what they do, right? And so when they do that, when they go and they get drunk and they do whatever they're gonna do, what happens is that they put everybody else at risk, you know, and they want to go drive because they feel like they're up to the challenge. Or something about the Bible says about do not be drunk with wine, you know, but everything is like be controlled by the Holy Spirit, right? Which means like don't do stuff, don't be controlled by anything, you know. So there comes a point where you have to kind of not, you have to not do something, you know. You have to not do something because you cannot be controlled by anything, right? So when I was like looking at the stuff here, there was a lady. She was drunk, or it seemed like she was drunk, but she got hit by a car, or it seemed like she got hit by a car. What it was like, you know, I was driving down on the way to the Grand Central. Those of you know what the Grand Central Parkway is. It's like, you know, pretty much it's one of those streets. It's one of those streets, right? That has a lot of traffic. So no trucks, but cars. You know, because in parkways you can't no trucks, just cars. And so what ends up happening was like this lady, she was like her leg was trapped under a car. Like I don't know if it was. At first I thought it was her foot was trapped under the car, you know, because pretty much just you know looked like it. And so what ended up happening was like you know I parked my car. Well, I was pretty much on the highway because there's like the street goes like one of these things where it's like you merge into the it's like you merge into the lane. So it's like this, the car was here, and then I had to merge into it, right? And I parked my car here, jumped out, and there was a guy standing there in white. I mean, I wish I had taken a picture of that. I don't know why I didn't. I had my camera there and everything, but I didn't take a picture because I thought it was like, you know, sometimes, you know, you don't take a picture of everything because you just can't. You know, you just can't do it because if you do that, that makes you kind of a weird kind of person. You're taking pictures of situations, and I don't know. Sometimes it's good to do that, but I was just like, she's caught. More importantly, let me get her foot out of this thing, you know, whatever it is. Call the ambulance type thing, you know. So I went over to go see what was up. And when I was over there, I saw that she had her foot was like kind of caught on it, but it wasn't her foot. It was like the edge of her pant leg, like the cloth of her pant leg was underneath the tire. So I'm thinking the guy was there, right? He might have like she might have jumped out of the car and she fell, right? Because she was also bleeding under her mouth. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy, right? What's going on? And so what ends up happening was like she did that thing, and I was like, she was like under she was pinned. Okay, she was pinned under the car. So I went before I went to do the swim thing. I went out and I pushed this car, and I think I hurt my back because after that was my back has been like hurt me even now. It's like a week later, and I still feel it. And so what happens is like I feel like I was able to push the car off where she can get her foot free, but the pant leg was still underneath the car. So anyway, so what happens was like when I did that, right, it was like I was yelling at the guy. I was yelling at the people there in the back too. I said, what the heck? What's going on? Because what, you know, I have to look at a mirror because the words are in the way. So I have to kind of look at a mirror for this. Let me see. So what happens is like, you know, okay, cool. So what happens is like the, oh yeah, this is cool, man. I was looking at it through the screen, and here am I looking at it. It's pretty intense, man. Tribal. I do a lot of tribal paint. So I think it's the tribe that's in me. So anyway, so what happens is like you have this thing where I was yelling at everybody saying, what's going on? She's bleeding. I say, sangre la boca, sangre. She's bleeding from her mouth. You know, what's the deal with that? What's going on? And so what happened? They were like, the guy wasn't helping, and it's kind of a world that we live in where nobody wants to help because everybody's afraid of lawsuits and stuff, you know. But I saw that and I was like, helped her, and then she got up. After she got up and she's still bleeding from her mouth, I was like, you want me to call the ambulance? And it's like, let's see, I don't ambulance. Yeah, I just made up that word. I don't think ambulance is the word, but I was like, hey, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So what happens? She got up off her feet and she started walking back towards the road, off the side. So I was like, you know, what the heck, man? What's going on with all these things, you know? So, oh, don't fall. Okay, oh goodness. Okay, my brushes. Oh, see, that's the cool thing about the brushes. The brushes are like stuck in here so they don't fall. So I thought I was gonna fall down. All right, cool. It didn't. So I was kind of shaking. My son said he was frozen. He didn't know what to do, and I was just like, let me just go and do this thing. Let me go help this lady. And I went out and I did, because you know at the end of the, that's what fell. The cap. This cap fell out of there. I gotta find that cap for this thing. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Huh? All right. I'll have to find this cap in a little bit. You see what happens? Start moving stuff so this doesn't dry up. All right. So there's a cap that's here for this one. All right. You know what? I'll find it in a second. Let me go ahead and do this. So okay, let me go ahead and add some more details to the blue. All right, so let's make this more deeper blue. Right there. So there's that. All right, and then I have, so this is kind of like the skull, the Ultimate Warrior. You know, there's like a Star Wars. I think it's like General Grievous, like General Grievous's face. And I think I have more white type there. You, like it or not, Kenobi, you are doomed, and the kind of thing. So anyway, so you have this thing where that happened, and she jumped up and walked away, and I started going because at that point traffic started building up behind me because I was on the off ramp, or the on ramp, I guess, onto the highway, and it was just like, it didn't quite work out. Let me put some green. So the thing is, like, my whole thing, the reason I'm saying this is because, like, sometimes you just don't know what to do, and that's what I'm saying before, like, being the designated driver. That's why I don't drink and don't do drugs and stuff like that. But I do body paint, and that's fun because it doesn't really hurt anybody actually when you do that. It's like it's not really hurting anyone. You're not damaging anybody. You're not messing with anybody's family. You're just doing a paint thing, and then when it happens, you go home. When we did the Guggenheim last year, there was a time where I was just like, you know what, I'm done. I'm gonna go home. So kind of thing. And it was like that. I just kind of, I haven't done a painting since then. I mean, maybe I did a painting. I just can't remember at this moment. So let's see. I have the other colors. Look at the other colors. I'm going to do the blue. So for the foundation worked out great. This foundation, right? Then we have the foundation and this one and that one. And I have to find the cap because the cap's on the ground. All right, but in the meantime, I do have the rest of my chest and my body. So let's go ahead and do this. This one here. Okay, I have the blue. The blue. Blue is over. Oh, there goes the. I'll turn off the kettle. Ooh. Okay, the kettle. All right, let's do blue. I need green. I need white. Green. I have green in the container. There's green. Green is here. Green. I'm gonna use green because green is my favorite one to use. These are like some of the paints that I have, and so this is the green one. Okay, green. Not green. I'm gonna put green across the top band, even though this band looks really cool. I'm gonna do like that. You see this? It's pretty cool. So okay, so what happens is this, right? So for the most part, though, I recommend everybody at least some point in their life gets to do a body paint. Go get some paint. Go get some Halloween paint. Look, I have a Halloween paint thing here, right? The Halloween paint thingy, right? And what you could do, you can go ahead and get some of this too as well. And if you did that, you could be able to just do a painting. And that's why I think it's really cool because, you do that. So what are the lessons I've learned? I wrote a list of stuff what I want to talk about. And I did actually talk about everything I wanted to talk about in terms of that. But my lessons I've learned really quick about the whole body paint thing and about the skinny dipping thing and the ocean thing. I learned that it's actually painful. It really is. I'll say it. It's kind of a painful thing because what happens is you don't need to do it. You really don't, and you don't have to do it. And it's one of those things like it's like when you go to work because you kind of have to, and then when you get out of work, you got to go home and do all the other stuff that you got to do. Do all the other stuff you have to do. But for the most part, though, you work because you have to. But if you do this thing, like you go and do this painting, or like I'm doing painting right now, what happens is like you are not sure exactly how it's all going to turn out. You just kind of do a thing. And the thing is, like, I'm not getting the colors right. Let me see if I can get it like bright. I'm gonna raise the light a little bit more, so you might be like a little bit more to see. You might see some more brightness. So it goes. All right, see here. See, because what happens, it goes up into my eyes, and that bothers me like all get up. So I have the light like this, and I have light like that. So like this. I'm gonna put the green on the foundation. So nice. So this is the green. I don't even want to mess with this. It's like the green looks like so nice. I'm gonna put down here. Okay. They always say don't paint under your eyes with the green. Don't paint under your eyes with it. You gotta give your eyes some space because you don't want to touch it in your eyes with the green paint. Okay, so then yeah, you don't have to do it. If you don't do it, then you don't know what the problem is or what the lesson is. But what you do learn is that you actually can push yourself to your limit. And again, nobody got hurt in the process. Nobody got injured. I didn't get injured. Maybe for the pushing the car business, that my back hurts right now. But for the most part, though, it's like you have to try stuff to see what you like. Not Don't do drugs, okay? Just don't do it because people, those who try the drugs, they get stuck and they can't get out of the try, and then they want the high again and all that stuff. But one thing I find about this is like the whole thing about when you're painting your face with all these cool colors and stuff, and you're looking like a fish monster and stuff. You can add so many things to it. You can do so many cool things to this, but you have to kind of have the procedure down pat. So my point being is like it's like this year is a year of possibilities for you, for all of us. You're never quite sure what you're gonna do. You're never quite sure, because some of us are gonna like lose our jobs this year, right? Some of us are gonna gain new jobs, right? Because you kind of have to. You know, if you lose a job, you have to gain a job somewhere else, and that's how it is. And at first, it's like, hard to realize that, but you have to kind of go through the lesson of it all. And sometimes, the thing is, like, people are just, I don't know, you go through something and you're just afraid, and then when you do, you're like, man, that was nothing, kind of thing. It's more fear, more scary in our head. It's more scary in our head than in actual real life. And that's kind of the thing. So, oh, Mr. Okay. So the thing is, like, it's like, it's more scary in our head than actual real life. And so if you just did the thing that you're afraid of, you would actually accomplish the goal. And they say the thing that you want is usually on the other side of what you're afraid of, because it's like our mind holding us back. And then I was listening to this thing about retirement, talking about that, how when you get retirement age, you don't stop working. You start doing the things you wanted to do, not just go and enjoy and do stuff like go on cruises. They say when you get to retirement age, what you do, you gotta do the stuff that connects you to other people, do the stuff that makes you what's the word? The connection with people that gives you your sense of purpose. Because sometimes we go to a job and we don't have a sense of purpose. Like the job I work at, I like the job I work at actually. It's pretty cool, and pretty much I've been at it for about almost 2 years now. In June will be 2 years working at this job, and I like it. I chose it because it was kind of like it's kind of like a janitor position, and it's like pretty cool because janitor position is really kind of a very powerful position. When you think about it, it's like you notice when the janitor does his job well, or actually you only notice when he doesn't do it well. How's that? Put it that way. You'll notice when it's not done well, because if he does it well, you won't notice, but you're grateful for a nice clean bathroom. But for the most part, don't spill. Okay, just here. Because what happens? It's not absorbing. It has to kind of because the foundation kind of keeps it from absorbing, which is great. Okay, now that I'm gonna follow through and put it into my hair. It's a little wisp green. All right. I was thinking about my country that I'm from. Like I'm from a tribal country, and it's a lot of tribes in the country that's still there, but it's also indigenous. It's French, English, so it's kind of like it goes from the extreme, from one extreme to the other. It goes from the extreme of being like completely like indigenous to being that of the British. So we have like a huge range. We have like people who are indigenous, and then people who are of the people group who are of the land. But then also, so you have that, and also of the Europeans. So we have a bunch of different colors. So my home country has many colors to it. And the people of the land, it has so I was kind of just talking, but the point what I'm saying is like I think every tribe has a body paint element to it. Every tribe, every people has a body paint element, and because of that, there's a thing when they take the earth and they paint the earth upon their body, or they try and symbolize something. And for me, my symbolization, what it means is that freedom. It means freedom. It means like free from knowing what I know, and going to where I went through and doing stuff that I've done. It's like it's a freedom because I know that the stuff I did. I thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's pretty cool. And so what happens is like freedom, and the freedom aspect of it is like you can actually do some really cool stuff when you're free. And you don't have to necessarily be like doing something crazy. This is not crazy. This is actually pretty cool. You get to make anything. You're not doing anything that's not gonna hurt anybody in the long run, and so hurt anybody at all actually. So it's like one of those things where you just a form of expression, and it's like for me, it just means a lot. It's like I don't know. It's kind of like maybe it's I don't know what it is. I'm just doing it. So here it is. All right. So I followed through with let me see, put some more green on me. I think everybody should try this. I think everybody in the comments should try this at least one point in their life. Just go get some paint. Like I have a paint here, right? This one here. This is the one from the what do you call it? From the colorful makeup, like for Halloween and stuff like that. Go get some of that and just go do it. Just go colorful and color up and do something cool, Because what happens is like you just don't know. You just don't know how cool it is to do this. And then so also the next thing before you go do this before you take a shower. So when you go take a shower, you see how colorful your water stuff is. You know how cool your water, how cool your water turns, because like you have it when you wash it all off and stuff like that. All right, so there's that. Okay, so let's. Hmm, pretty cool. Let me see if I can make it more on my shoulders too as well. Okay, this is the green. Keep painting the green. Green's my favorite to paint with. I tell you, I just absolutely love painting the green. The other one that's good, it works well with me, is blue. Blue and green works really well on my body. You know, it's just something about like just the whole aspect of like when you do this for me, it works out great because the colors. Let me see. Let me turn this off for a little bit. Let me see if you can see the colors a little better. Mm-hmm. Tell me if you like it better with the colors on, with the lights on or lights off, because is it better? Is it brighter? Can you see it better? Let's see. Green. Let me know. The foundation really does a good trick. And then the people who wear this stuff like all day long, they go to cosplay and stuff and they wear this all day long. I'm like, man, these people, how do they do it? Mm-hmm. But let me know. Let me know. Okay, so the thing is, like, last couple weeks I've been doing a lot of stuff, and so the most recent was this beach one, and the beach one was cool because afterwards my son and I, we had like a Dunkin' Donuts because we had purchased Dunkin' Donuts before I went to the beach, and it was like that we have it because we went to Burger King. Even though the drive-through worked, drive-through was like working, like saying hello and welcome to Burger King. It didn't have a person on the other side of that, which is kind of weird. So there was a guy in front of us who had pulled over, and we were like, guy had pulled over in front of us to go use the machine. And when we went to use the machine, he had driven away. We didn't even know where he went to. You know, we were like, what the? You know, so he was gone before we realized that he was gone. And we like, it was snow. There was actually snow that day too, as well. So because there was snow, you had this thing where it's like, it was kind of like unnerving going to the beach thing. It really was, because like for like when I did the beach thing last year, it was such a cool thing, a good year to start. Like it's gonna be a good year, and I think when I went to the beach thing this time, when I did it, it was kind of like I realized that it was actually like a painful year, and this was closure on a painful year. You know, big old closure. Last year was pretty painful. You know, and all the stuff we went through last year, all the things. But one thing I liked about last year was that the classes, I got a chance to do some of the classes and stuff. And my art classes, are going to try to resume this year and do some more of. That was pretty significant. That was actually pretty cool times, you know. And I absolutely loved it because I got a chance to work with people. I got a chance to have people pose for my class. I got to sculpt them with masking tape, and that was great. You know, if any of you guys want to be part of that, if you live in the New York City area, I'm going to try and see more people. I have a whole series of models who are willing to help me do this already, which is great, and I'm really really glad for that. And so the thing is like. It's the things that we never get to, unfortunately, is the painting. You know, it's like because what happens is like it's kind of a class that requires a lot of energy in terms of like just get like you work on something that's clay. You're familiar with clay. When you work on masking tape, it's a whole different animal. And so what I tend to do, I tend to prepare the things for the people. Like when we did the gremlin class, I mean the gremlin class we had that where people were like prepared already. They were prepared and they had a chance to see from the preparation what we were doing. You know. So that was really cool. So I did that. So that saved on time. So they got really focused on the twisting and the elements of the making it work. You know. Whereas if I had just had them go from scratch, which we do, I have a couple things they make completely from scratch, like they have from the tape to the sculpture, and that takes about 30 minutes for them to do. But to do something that's complex, like making a gremlin or making like this guy here, like it's this lizard, this lizard is way complex, more complex than more people can actually understand. I mean, it's a procedure to make it, and to paint them and all that stuff. So when I do a class, sometimes we just end up just making the basic frame of the person or the frame of the thing, right? And I'll show you this one. This was actually one of the people I sculpted in the classroom. This is one of the people I sculpted in the class. And so this is one, right? And then so I gave her more arms, but she was one of my models last year, and it was really cool. So I might invite her back again to do it. And so she was really cool. I had a couple more too as well, and I found that it's really a cool thing. It's really a cool procedure. And this foundation, this blue dye is, oh my goodness, it's amazing. It's amazing. I just hope it doesn't like, stay on me all day when I go to work later. That it's gonna be like, oh goodness, you're blue. I'm like, well, yes, like the blue, Okay, alright, so let's see that. Alright, first body paint of the year. So here's blue and green. I think I put the black in too, so I'm gonna do some of the black. I'm gonna give it like the very specific black marker. I'm gonna go blue. I like this. This is pretty cool. You guys like this? Let me know if you like it. I'm gonna use a black paint because the colors I'm gonna do is this one. I have him. This is the colors I'm kind of going to try and match. Right, him with Jara, right? And also, goodness, I don't know where he went to. It's probably that jam. Probably under or something. Anyway, so, oh goodness. Okay, I can't find the dinosaur one. Oh, here it is. Okay, there's. Hold on. This dinosaur one. This is the dinosaur one, and so that's the one. So this is the dinosaur painting. So I'm gonna do some of the black mark. You know what I do? I want to take a picture of this, but I can't really take a picture of this. Oh, yeah, I could probably do a screenshot, right? Do a screenshot of this. So let's see. Can I do a screenshot? Oh, I can't. I did a screenshot. Okay, cool. So, let me see if I do it again. Okay, so there you go. That's that one. So for the most part, though, I'm gonna go ahead and just put this here, finish this up, and then from there, have the blue line, the blue line, the blue line. And so, you know, people would go and paint themselves before they go out to battle or something, you know? And so, you know, when you think about it, you know, it's kind of a battle out there. You have to battle for the truth, find out what information's about, you know, do the right thing kind of battle. You know, make sure you bring home food for the family kind of battle, and make sure you bring home food for yourself kind of battle. Survive your bosses, survive your employees, survive your fears, survive driving home. You know, all these different things you have to do just to be able to make it, you know? And when you do it. You really, really do it. So, haha. Okay, so now, the cap, whatever the cap is, I'm gonna put the black ink. Let's go for black ink. So I gotta, okay, I'm gonna put this over here. I gotta find a black marker. I had a black marker here, and I'm gonna put this in here so that at least I know it's not gonna be resting on touching anything. Yeah, put it there. This here. Let's go ahead and do some black. I made some black outlines with this thing here, right? So let's go ahead and give that a shot. You know, definitely ask me questions. I have up down and send me your questions if you have any questions you want to ask me. You know? So this is the green one. I have the black one. Okay, this one has the black one. Oh, okay, it's black, red. This is black. I think it's black. So this might be the yellow one. Maybe the black one. Let's see. I think it's the black one. Black ink. Yeah, this is the black one. Okay, so here it goes. I'm gonna do some cool outlines and patterns with this black paint. The reason I wanted to get that screenshot was because for that reason, you know. Okay, so let's see that. Let's go. This is black here, which is all the way, but so it doesn't fall. See like Martin said, the man who sleeps on the floor cannot fall out of bed, right? So that's up there. All right. You know, one thing that I think about is really cool about this stuff is, like, again, it washes off, you know. And I people who do like permanent like paint and stuff like that, I admire them because their permanent stuff is kind of like it's a dedication, you know. Let's do this. I feel it's the mirror. What's the wisest? I mean, I could look at you guys and do this, but I should probably do it with the mirror. So let me just kind of focus real quick. This is cool. This is so cool. All right, so start with this center. Okay. Yeah, imagine the AI that's being programmed while watching my channel right now. What it's thinking of doing. Is it going to be like programming itself to try and mimic this thing that I'm doing? Or is it going to be one of those things where it just kind of like says, well, I don't know how to copy this thing. Like, you know, my kids and I, sometimes we do this thing where it's like, we start walking funny. We walk funny so that we just trip up the AI that's monitoring and watching your gait, you know? the way you walk, you know. So it's like we just started walking all it's all funky. It's a little crooked. All right. We walk all funny just so we can mess it up. The AI is recording your steps. And you have people that do this thing, right? Where they go and then they have like they have this thing where they paint their faces so their face is different than what they normally have to trick the machine, you know? To trick the machine. See, like my favorite color, I have a combination of favorite colors. Um, my favorite color, a combination of that is like I like the greens and I like the blues, even though I don't necessarily wear the greens and the blues too much. When I was in high school, I used to wear a lot of blue. As I got older, there's more reds and stuff. What is these colors are great. It's like I'm totally matching the green screen behind me. Write me in the chat if you'd ever do a body painting thing, and yes or no. Why would you do it, and why wouldn't you? Write me in the chat. Let me know. Right? Yes, you would, or no, you wouldn't, and why? As I'm doing this, I'm gonna finish with this soon. I think I'm gonna paint my whole body. It's always fun. But I have to get my camera working again. My other camera. Get this right. Get my colors right. I think that's why people actually paint other people. It's a little easier to paint other people than just to paint your own face. But there's that lady, what do you call it, that does all the Super Marvel heroes and stuff. She's the one. She does her paint. I get something cosplay, like Laura Croft cosplay or something like that. And she does this painting where she paints like every different people, like different people, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty significant. But like it is a lot of work. This is a lot of work because what happens is like if you don't get it right, you get it wrong, and you have to go through the whole thing of fixing up the problem you just made. You know. So hopefully I get it right. You know. Get it. Get it right. Every time I look at it, and I look at this. It's like, interesting. But I gotta connect the two, connect them all. It's almost like the so tribal. What I see the people do too, they do the outlines of underneath the thing. Oh goodness, I messed this one up. Okay, I gotta make it down like there a little bit more. Bring it down some here, and then they fix it. I'm afraid I'd start breaking out. Okay, well that's something there, But you have to make sure you get ones that don't hurt your skin, and also if it starts to break out, you have to just make sure you wash it, you know. And then yeah, I don't blame you. It's like the thing is like when I do the ones that like on my back with the full body one, it's like on my back I can never quite get my back, so my wife has to help me get out of it, which is pretty cool because I think about that's kind of a cool bonding experience. But for the most part, though, it's one of those things where it's like if you don't get it right, you have blue paint on you, and you go to work and your hair is still blue or something, and like yeah, how come your hair is blue? It's like signs of the times, things like that. But also, it's for me. I think about like in the Bible they had things where the guy had to do different things, like different guys. Like for example, Ezekiel, he had to do some crazy stuff, and you have the thing like Isaiah had to go preach naked. He had to preach naked for 3 years, man. He did that. If you look at Isaiah chapter, I think it's 12. If it's not 12, then it's 20. He had to go preach for 3 years, butt naked. Mm-hmm. And so there's that. And then let me see, get my water. Get this. The Ultimate Warrior, you know? The wrestler Ultimate Warrior. I forget his name, but it always goes by Ultimate Warrior. Yo, this is cool, man. I don't care remember, so this is cool. This is fun and cool. So, okay. Anybody else? Anybody else want to write something too? Let's see. Thank you, Moped Mike, for writing. I appreciate that. There's anybody else want to write something? See, the thing is, when you make a promise to yourself and you keep it, you actually feel like, all right, you know what? What all the promise I'm gonna keep to myself. Yesterday, my situation was like I had to go get the car looked at. My wife and I was taking my daughter driving, which I've been doing for the last 7 weeks, right? This is gonna be week 7 or week 6, I think. I missed last week. Last week we went looking for that money, that chocolate money and stuff like that, right? So when we went to go do that, it was one of those things where we went to go do the chocolate money thing. We were playing Uno, right? We were playing Uno with the kids on the Monday, and we went to TJ Maxx. I went to my doctor's appointment, right? My doctor's appointment for my foot. They had this thing where it was like, we found a TJ Maxx, and the TJ Maxx had the thing I was looking for. It had the chocolate money. I wasn't even looking for it at that point. It was kind of like it was there, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Took the opportunity to buy it, and then had the kids like learn about money. I know what money can do, and what money, the whole aspect of like money, in terms of what money can do, in terms of like what you can do with it and stuff, not just necessarily. My nose looks like a skull. Sorry. Anyway, so what happens is like and then so we was teaching them how to do stuff, how to handle money, and I have a video of that too. If you look back, you can see the video and my talk about the kids with chocolate money. And they went right to gambling. And I was like, oh goodness, kid. Well, it's good to get out of their system. It's good to get out of their system because if they don't, then it's like pretty much the first thing they do when they have real money, they're gonna go and start gambling. I'll try to figure out how to get money that way. So we talk about the whole thing of work with ethics and stuff, and your jobs and working your jobs and stuff and retiring with a purpose. It's called ikigai. The Japanese call it ikigai, where you have a purpose and you don't even have the word for retirement. Some cultures don't even have it because it's like when you get older, you're gonna be part of a bigger thing. You're gonna keep working and being part of giving back to society. So what happens in American culture? We just have this thing where you just like when you get to a certain age, you become useless and forgotten, or they stick you in a nursing home, which is the ultimate dread. It's like what people fear. When you get old, you're afraid of the hospitals, you're afraid of the things, and then when you get old, you're afraid of being put in a nursing home. It's something there that says, make sure that you have a purpose when you go into it, that you don't put you into a nursing home to retire. You did all your job is done. That's kind of like the thing with Robin when he had the gifts. You got all this special gifts episode with the cursed gifts. And what ended up happening was that when he got the gifts, he went from being perfect. He solved all the problems as a superhero, and now he went to retirement, and they had him in a nursing home. And then it's like it's a curse. It's a curse. It's a curse. Having all these powerful gifts makes it a curse. And I was just like, wow, what an interesting story they put for us. I never really thought about it until this recently. Just as I'm talking about it now, I never really quite talked about it or thought about it until right now. I was like, it makes you kind of wonder, don't it? So, interesting. Let me take this. All right, well, let me continue on the rest of my body. All right, so let's see. So I gotta try to get the sponge to rest, or the sponging is what makes it really work really fast. You do like a whole sponge thing. But then the green sponge works very good. All right, so we have this one. where are my sponges? This is here, this is here, this is here. Get a sponge. You got this time. So we're gonna make the rest of the body just kind of this. You're gonna have to do that too as well. So here's my sponge. Here's a sponge, right? Then I do. That's the other part too. It's like sometimes the thing breaks and you have all this like little things that come off of it, and you have to make it work, you know. So that's something there. You know, it's kind of a cool. I look like some kind of like Wookiee monster or something. Okay, so the green part. Anything else? Feel free to write what you think. You know, what you like me to talk more about, because it's like pretty much. See, my headphones, they broke, right? Headphones, they broke, and I had to kind of like refix them. But it's like it's kind of doesn't, the wire doesn't hold so well. So there's that. Okay, so let's see what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna continue working on the black paint. Was great. It worked really well. The green paints worked really well too. Let me see if I can do that somewhere without the green paints. Where's my brush? Green. This is black. This is black. This is the green. Green. Okay, green. To bring the camera up a little bit so don't mess with the sensors, you know. So when you go take a shower later, it's like all this stuff is like really, really cool. It's like you have it like really nifty and stuff. So it's like it's all like ready to, you know, ready to come off, and you're just ready to go. Mm-hmm. The blue and green. The blue and green are my favorite. So definitely, any more? Oh goodness, my power's running down to 2%. All right, I gotta plug in my other power source real quick. Let me sit down for a second. Okay, I'm plugging my power source. Hopefully, it doesn't like die out on me here. Hope that's enough. Okay. So there's that. Hopefully, it stays in place. Ended up so it stays in place. Oops, goodness. Let's see all that. All right, cool. Okay, cool. So there's that, and then yes, this is my. Hope it's like it's like looking into the light, right? So looking right into the light, so you can't really see anything. But so when you do the sponge one works even better, because you have it where it's like with the sponge, you get a chance to actually like get all the colors that you want as quick as you want with the sponge, you know. But that's kind of the thing, though. You have to kind of make sure that you just don't what's the word? You don't mess up. I'm gonna trip the sensors now. Alright. See, that's an interesting thing, right? It's like guys can do this, girls can't do this. At least not this far down. To go any further than it, maybe might be trouble. But you know. Alright, so let's see what we got. I'm gonna have to stop here because I'm running out. What time? Oh, it's been an hour and 5 minutes. Okay, usually I only go for about an hour, so I'm gonna have to just stop soon. But before I stop, just want to say thank you all for like pretty much watching my show, and I'm pretty much watching me do this body paint stuff. It's always fun because what happens is like you get a chance to see like me do this, and I gotta do some more black ink. So I'm gonna follow the black ink down the way, and make some cool designs. Right, just kind of following through because the black ink one is so pronounced. You can see all the cool designs that are being made. Here, so there, make it more pronounced. I can't see with the camera there. I have to see with the thing, so I gotta like use my mirror. So let's see how there's. This is cool. On the rim. See, it's hard to do this with your one-handed, so just like this. Just like that. Okay. Like a circus. All right. All right, this is going pretty good. All right, let's get further down. Further down. If I stand up, I hope I don't like reveal too much. Okay. Yeah, I probably won't if I stand up. Yep. Okay. So Muya, muya, muya. All right, I think I'm gonna call it quits. This is here for now. I want to say thank you so much for watching my channel. This is pretty. And so I just wanted to end it here because I was about to get finished. And so here am I just finishing, and I got a chance to paint my face. So I want to say thank you so much for being here, those who were able to watch and able to see me do this face paint thing. So thank you so much. And until more, I'm going to do some more later in the future. But this is the first one for the day. So Happy New Year, everybody. I wish you all the best. Yeah, baby.